Oh, hey everyone, I didn't see you there. I'm just standing here in the corner. Here normally is my movies. I'm really thinking about showing you my records. You know, I got back from Seattle and I really liked, there you don't see a glare anymore. I really liked showing you what I had for records. So I really actually kind of want to just make a really quick video to where I show you my entire record collection. We're actually going to go out here and we're just going to take a little journey, and I'm going to go through each record as quick as possible. This might be a two-part video. It's definitely going to be a two-part video because there's a lot of records to talk about. Because normally I talk about movies and all those things. So if anyone is interested, check this little video out and check out part 2 coming out soon as well. So let's just get to it. Alright, let's go on our journey. It's like I already prepared this or something. There's no way I prepared this. Oh, there might be a light there. Yeah, here's some nice artwork. I got some artwork in the house and some books, and then there they are, the records. First thing first, I actually have an Audio-Technica. It is a pretty great record player, and No Sleep Records that's just a Record Store Day mat that I have on this, and then I have some pretty nice Edifier speakers that I got from Amazon that are really nice. But anyway, we're down here for this. This is actually what we're here for, and so let's just get to it. We're going to talk about all of these. Alright, starting here, we actually have this entire section right around here to Star Wars. These are all of my metal records. So let's just actually get on with this first. We have Alcest. We have its first record. This is actually a re-release. Souvenirs d'un autre monde. I definitely do not speak French. This is a French black metal band with some shoegaze elements. It's a really fantastic record. And I hope you can see that artwork because it's gorgeous. So Alcest, that's the first thing we have here. Next is a band that I know pretty little about, but this is Arctic Sleep, and this is like a doom progressive rock and metal band. It's also got some really lovely artwork. I got this for really cheap, but Arctic Sleep is a really fun band, and there's actually quite a few things that like are very, just I don't know. And there are a couple things in here that I actually think have really stuck in my mind. So Arctic Sleep is really great. Next, we actually have a slew of one of my favorite artists, John Baisley, who is in the band Baroness. Actually, I think that Gold and Grey, their newest record, is coming out, and it actually is on its way. So, but I'm actually going to show you the artwork of John Baisley. This is Baroness's artwork. He is the lead singer of Baroness. They're from Savannah, Georgia, or parts of Georgia and stuff. But anyway, this is the album Red. This is their first album, and I really absolutely love the artwork here. And that's actually the reason I love records, and that's the reason I like showing these things off, is because they're just gorgeous. And John Baisley's artwork is just fantastic. Next is Blue, the Blue record that came out right after the Red record, Red album. That is the Blue album right there. It's gorgeous as well. And then right after that, they put out a double album called Yellow and Green. That is the yellow side. That is the green side. And this is a double album. They actually shifted gears a little bit. They used to be a little bit more sludgy, a little bit more Mastodon-esque, like Hylessa, that whole area of Georgia. They had a certain particular sludge and progressive sound to them. They actually went a little bit more on the rock side, and I really love it. This is actually the first record that I got introduced to Baroness, and then I kind of backtracked. But I really loved this, and then right after this happened, they actually got in an accident, unfortunately, and several of the members were not able to play anymore. Luckily, no one died, so thank goodness. But the next few records I'm going to show you are like the aftermath of what they did. What came after that was Purple, and that came out quite a few years after the accident. But you know, this is just a gorgeous piece of work right here, Purple, the last thing they did. And that is the back. Fantastic piece here. And then the last thing I wanted to show you from them is actually the Live at BBC. It's really nice John Baisley work. So what's really cool about all these artwork that I just explained and showed is that this is all done by the lead singer, and that's just kind of the thing he does. So there's that. And honestly, I should just pull out these records sometime. Let me know down below if you want to see more of these in depth. I'm just going through the complete, thing here. All right, next we're going to shift gears away from Baroness to a black metal band from Poland, black and death metal band. That is Behemoth. This is the Satanist. This is actually the really critically acclaimed, amazing record. Nurgle from Behemoth, the lead singer. I actually saw them earlier this year or late last year, I can't remember when, but recently actually. But I really love this record. This is the record that kind of put them back on the map. Like, I don't know, this is just like their best record. This is the best record they've ever put out, and this is the record that they put out not terribly too long ago, but like 5 or 6 years ago. So anyway, it's really fantastic. If you haven't checked them out, listen to the Behemoth. They're really great. Next, we're actually going to get to one of my favorite progressive metal bands, and that is Between the Buried and Me. And the thing I have right here is, this is the first record right here, and it actually is a misprint. If you can see, there's 3 E's here, and this is actually a hard to find LP. I actually got it from an old friend when I used to work at the record store, but this is right here. This is the first record, Between the Buried and Me. The first record is very heavy and very spastic and has a lot of different influences on it, you can tell. After that, I actually have Anatomy of, which is a record store exclusive, record store day exclusive. If you collect records, you'll understand that record store day is a really big, important thing. And this is actually an orange record. It's really, really cool. It's like split. I might as well just pull this one out because it's just cool to show. If you can tell, there's the translucent orange. Anyway, it's really cool. And this is actually a cover album where they showed all their influences from Metallica to Motley Crue to Sepultura, and from Pantera and all these other things, Pink Floyd, Queen, everything's on there. But anyway, moving on from there, we actually go on to their second LP, which is The Silent Circus, which is a really fantastic heavy album as well. And it's just a really, really great follow-up to the original Between the Buried and Me album. And then after that is, I don't have Alaska, I wish I did, but I do have their most iconic album, and that is Colors. This is the album that kind of is the legendary album of theirs, and it's just fantastic, and I'm really happy to own this on vinyl. But this is a really, really amazing record. If you have to check out anything from Between the Buried and Me and you haven't listened to them, this is the album to listen to, Colors. Go in with an open mind. It's very progressive. It's very reminiscent of a Pink Floyd concept album, and it's just really, 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 really great. Next is actually one of the first big things that I actually owned, and that's Between the Buried and Me's Parallax, the Hypersleep Dialogues. This is a big box set for the EP that came out, and then the second one, Parallax 2 Future Sequence, which is the long LP, and this is actually a really fantastic box. It's a record store day exclusive, and so these are also pretty rare. But that is the Hypersleep Dialogues. This is a 30-minute EP. It's got 3 songs on it. It's really, really cool. And then the legendary album, I would say After Colors, for me at least, is just one of the best albums ever, and that's Parallax 2, a Future Sequence. It's like a 75-minute long album. It's really, really great, though. Between the Buried and Me has really good concepts, and I really like them. And they've done a lot of really great things. And they continue to do a lot of great things. So moving on from there, we're actually going to a British post-rock band called Bossk, as in, the bounty hunter from Star Wars. This is actually Audio Noir, I believe is what it's called. But anyway, this is the first LP that they put out. This actually only came out a few years ago. They used to have a couple EPs, and they kind of went defunct, and then they came back together, and this is it. So this is really, really great. Post-rock, if you know Godspeed You Black Emperor, or you know Mogwai or Explosions in the Sky, this is right up your alley. So check out Bossk if you haven't. And then we're moving on from there to another post-rock band, that's Caspian. And this LP is called Dust and Disquiet, and this is the one that really introduced me to how amazing this band is. Just like with Bossk, the the influences of post-rock and post-metal are really there. So if you like really awesome, amazing, atmospheric album, this is one that you should check out. Caspian's Duska Disquiet. Next, we're moving on to one of my favorite bands of all time, and it's a progressive metal band that used to be a little bit more deathcore oriented, but they've actually shifted quite a bit, and that is the Contortionist. This is the latest output of theirs. I actually want to own every single one of their pieces of work. That would be really great if I could. But this is the Contortionist Clairvoyant. This is a very personal record because what happened with, I only know a little bit of the background, but apparently a friend of the band passed away, and there's a personal connection to it. And I just saw them actually at my place of work. There's only 50 people there, so I don't feel like they were really that welcomed, but you know, what can I say? Next is actually a really legendary metalcore band, Converge, and I actually have a lot of their records, and there's a few of them that are like just classics to me. And I actually have only liked Converge over the last probably 2 years, because I used to think it's just noise, but now like I understand it all, and so I completely get it. So this is You Fail Me. This is a really fun record of theirs. This is one of the ones I've listened to probably the least. I've listened to probably at least 1 or 2 spins. All right, my favorite Converge record, and probably one of the best albums of all time, Jane Doe. That is an amazing record right here. If you haven't heard Jane Doe and you want to listen to a classic album, that's the one to listen to right there. Yeah, so anyway, that, and then I have Converge's No Heroes right here. Another really great Converge record on Red record. And then I also have Converge's Axe to Fall, and that's a really fantastic opaque blue right there. That is that. And then probably either this or Jane Doe is probably my favorite record of Converge's, but this is All We Love We Leave Behind, which has a fantastic album artwork right here. I love it. Sorry about all the glares, but anyway, All We Love We Leave Behind, really great band. If you haven't listened to Converge, you should definitely check them out because they're amazing. All right, I'm gonna try to be a little quicker here. Next is Dead to a Dying World, Elegy. I actually talked a little bit about this in my Seattle video, so if you haven't checked that out, you should check that out because that's where I talked about that. Next is actually a band from California that mixes black metal and shoegaze with like a little bit of dream pop into it as well. That's Deafheaven, and this is one of those albums that huge album when it came out. It's called Sunbather, and you can tell it's pink. And what's so really great about this album is it's gorgeous, it's lush, it's extreme, it's everything, and it definitely looks tame. So you should check out Sunbather by Deafheaven if you have not listened to them, because they're fantastic. And that's got a really great vinyl right there. Next is actually a black metal band that I like called Enslaved, and they are just a fantastic beast of a band. I've seen them twice actually, and I really loved seeing them both times. But this is Axima Ethica Odini. This is like, they're either like 6th or 7th album. They've been around since the late 80s, early 90s. I want to say early 90s, but this is like from the late 2010 or early 2010s. Man, I'm just saying a lot of weird things. Anyway, check out Enslaved if you haven't listened to them. Next is probably the album that like really put them on the map for me, Enslaved. This is Retire. This is probably my favorite record of theirs. This album has so much emotion attached to it with me and so much connection. This came out back in like 2012, and I just absolutely fell in love with this record. It's one of my favorite albums of that year. This album is gorgeous and amazing. And then we're moving on to a pretty famous band. I actually heard of them back in like 2010 when like their first debut came out, and like they've only picked up and gotten a lot bigger ever since. But that band is Ghost. If you don't know about Ghost, this is a pretty legendary band, and they have just only blown up and just have gotten bigger. But this is Opus Eponymous. This is probably their best record in my opinion. This is the best thing they've ever done, 100%, hands down. And then I have a few other things of theirs. I have their EP, If You Have Ghosts. This is pretty much all their covers. Right here is a 5-song EP. Dave Grohl did the drums for that, actually. Then I have their second record right here. That's why they had changed their name to Ghost BC because of legality rights. Infestimum, I can never talk. I just had some hot wings, so I'm really, my mouth's like on fire right now. Next is Meliora, which is actually my second favorite Ghost record. It's their third album right here. Really cool satanic band that sounds like the Beatles and Blue Oyster Cult and just a lot of different Merciful Fate and just a bunch of other related things. All right, so let's shift gears over here a little bit. We're not going to be too much longer on this. All right, so moving on from Ghost, we actually have Ihsahn, who is the lead singer of Emperor. He started doing his own individual kind of work. This is a black metal band, progressive black metal artist, and this is Arctis. This is one of his latest outputs. This is a fantastic record with so many different genres, and it traverses a lot of different things, and it's fantastic. And if you haven't listened to Ihsahn, you should check him out because he's just really great. And I keep knocking things over, so I'm just gonna let it slide. Next is Irapass, another kind of post-rock, really crazy looking art right there. But this is just like Caspian and Bosk, just some really nice instrumental music and really soothing and metal at the same time. From there, we're actually getting to one of my favorite bands of all time and all of their LPs that are really hard to find, and some of them are re-releases, thank God. But that is ISIS, and no, not to confuse you with the terrorist organization or the Goddess, or like even Archer. But anyway, I already talked a little bit about Mosquito Control in my last video where I was talking about my adventures in Seattle. This is one of their first outputs. This is one of their EPs, Mosquito Control. It's really great. This is a re-release. And then we're moving from there to, I actually have the original Red Sea, which is another EP of theirs. Fantastic work here. I love this band. This is a crushing band that mixes like Neurosis and The Cure, and that's kind of how I describe it to people if you've never heard of ISIS, and you should check them out if you haven't. And then there I have their first record right here, Celestial, and that's a really amazing debut that like is just really crushing and really fantastic at the same time. And then now we're getting to the legendary album of theirs. I only have Oceanic, I don't have Panopticon, but Oceanic is a very hard to find record and is one of those albums that is a flawless album in my opinion. Conceptually, audibly, it's so blissfully amazing. But yeah, you can tell how important it is. It's fucking out of print and it's really clean and it's got green splatter. So I have that, and then the album that I probably have the most fun with is In Absence of Truth, and this is the one that's definitely probably the most accessible one in my opinion. If you were new to ISIS, this is the album to check out because this is kind of the explanation of what they sound like in a nutshell, and it's definitely a little bit safer on the ears. And then I actually have, I think, one more ISIS release thing. Yes, and that is Live 7, I believe. I'm checking. Anyway, this is one of their last recordings. It was recorded on the 25th of February in 2010. So they actually are a defunct band. They ended in 2010 because they just felt like creatively they weren't going to be a band anymore, and so they're on to different projects, which is unfortunate because I love this band. And next we're actually going to move on to Sweden. We're going to talk about a band that I really love, and I have a lot of their little LPs. Some of them are just bonus things I got, but that is Katatonia. And Katatonia here, this is, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, Koisiatien. This is just a collection of bonus tracks and unreleased things, and mixes and demos. But Katatonia is a really fantastic band. They are gothic kind of rock. It's hard to describe them, but like it's progressive, it sounds amazing, it sounds really sad, but it's really great. This is Last Fair Deal Gone Down. This is one of their earlier records, probably like their fourth or fifth, but they've been around for quite some time as well. We're gonna start having to move a lot of some stuff out of the way. Next is Viva Emptiness. I haven't listened to this on record, but I've listened to this a million times. This is a very, very angry record, and it's really great though. That's a re-release right here. And then probably one of the best albums of all time from Katatonia, and that is The Great Cold Distance. This album is just so damn good. If you were ever to listen to Katatonia, this is the album to listen to, in my opinion. Good introduction to their angstiness and how awesome they are. Next, we're going to talk about The Night is the New Day, another perfect album of theirs, another good way to start from them. This is a really fantastic record of theirs. It starts off with a banger in Forsaker. Really great stuff. Hopefully you can see this. I know there's a little bit of a glare. And then this is a Dethroned and Uncrowned. This is actually based on, this is an acoustic album from Dead End Kings, which I actually don't own, but it's a really great album of theirs too. And then their latest output before they're kind of on hiatus right now, but that is The Fall of Hearts, and this is the last thing they put out, and this is a really amazing album. This is one of my favorite albums of the year that came out back in 2017, I think, so, or 2016 or something like that, not too long ago. And then moving on from there, we're actually going to Russia, and we actually talked a little bit about them before, but Khan, I can never pronounce their name. This is their first LP. I talked about it on my Seattle trip. And then the other album of theirs that I own is over here. We'll talk about that later in the next video. But now we're actually going to move on to probably one of the biggest bands that probably everybody on here knows about or knows a little bit about. This is an amazing band from Georgia, not just Baroness, but we also have Mastodon. And this is Leviathan. This is a fantastic, amazing album that's based on Moby Dick, as you can probably tell. Really great artwork. I love it. I love these guys. This is one of my favorite metal bands of all time. So Mastodon, if you haven't heard Leviathan, that's a good place to start. I also have Blood Mountain, which is an amazing, amazing piece of work. Good God, the artwork is fucking amazing. And so anyway, there's that. And then I'm just knocking over everything. So let's just not do that anymore. And then my favorite album of theirs, Crack the Sky, progressive masterpiece right here. That's probably their best album in my opinion. So anyway, it's gorgeous. All right, so moving on from there, we actually have the latest output of theirs. The latest output of theirs, Emperor of Sand, another really fantastic kind of return to form like Crack the Sky. But this is a really great band, and this is a concept album about cancer and time and how precious life is. And so it's really good, and I love these guys a lot. So moving on from there, we're actually going to Japan to a post-rock outfit called Mono, and this is Hymn to the Immortal Wind. This is probably one of the most gorgeous albums of all time. If you want to listen to any instrumental music that I've talked about, this is probably the one to listen to the most. It's so peaceful and so amazing. It's with a whole it's with an entire orchestra, the band. So it's so good, so good. Now we're gonna move on from there to an Australian band that I really like. That incorporates progressive metal with violin, black metal, and death metal, a combination of all of it. And that's Obliviscaris. I actually have it all signed. I love this record. It's just one of those flawless albums of mine that I think is just absolutely perfect. It's really great, and you should listen to it if you're open-minded. This is like Opeth meets black metal. It's fantastic in the violin. Next is actually their second album. It's also signed by them. This is an amazing opaque orange record right here, but this is just the second album in their discography, Citadel. And then I have their third album as well. When I saw them, actually I ordered this from them, but this is Obliviscaris' third album, Earn. Really fantastic, double wide, 1,000 copies worldwide. Really great record as well. Next, we're going on from there. We're actually talking about Oathbreaker, a really fantastic record. When Rhea, I think they're Danish, I believe. I can definitely be wrong about that. But anyway, this is an amazing record. It's freaking emotional as hell. It's raw, it's amazing, it's perfect. And then we're moving on to probably one of my favorite progressive metal bands of all time. It's definitely in the conversation with Katatonia, and that is Opeth. And Opeth, this is Morning Rise. This is one of their first records. I think this is their second album, and it's fantastic. It's a fantastic LP. And then probably one of the biggest legendary albums of all time, Black Water Park. It's just a perfect album. This is another perfect album. 2001 had a really good stuff. Jane Doe and this, good God. But Black Water Park, fantastic album. If you need to listen to Opeth, that's the album to listen to. And then moving on from there is actually my Desert Island album. This is my favorite Opeth record. This is Damnation. It is a stylistic shift for them. This is a very jazzy and progressive rock album, and it's super melancholic, and it's absolutely gorgeous. If you never heard of Opeth, listen to this first, then listen to Black Water Park. And then we have Watershed, which actually marked a little bit of a shift in Opeth's direction. Now they're like kind of a progressive rock band, but they used to be a progressive metal band with a lot of death metal and progressive tendencies, but Watershed kind of marked the start of that, and it's a really good record as well. So we're getting to the end of this. Now we're going to move on to an awesome band from Little Rock, Arkansas. That's Pallbearer. This is Sorrow and Extinction. This is their first album, and it's a fantastic doom metal band. I really love it. And then I also have their limited edition EP, which is gorgeous. It has a couple songs, Fear and Fury, and it's just a really great piece of artwork here. And then I got their latest output in Heartless, and that's a really, really great LP right there, and really great artwork as well. And then we're going to Portugal, to one of my favorite doom metal bands, and that's Sinestro, because they have a female vocalist right here, Semente. This is a amazing record. If you haven't listened to this, Sinestro is the band to check out. Listen to Sinestro if you haven't heard it. Beautiful, haunting female vocals over crushing riffs. I swear, listen to it. And then I have their second record as well, Sangu Cassia. Sangu Cassia. I'm probably butchering that, but it's fantastic as well. It's so beautiful, so gorgeous. And then we have a recent addition, and Thou. This is Magus. This is one of their latest outputs. We talked about it a little bit on my Adventures to Seattle. Fantastic sludge metal band from Louisiana. And then we're actually moving on from there. We're ending this soon. Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats, a really great occult UK kind of classic rock sounding Black Sabbath band that's really fantastic. This is volume 1. This is a reissue, thank God, because this is a really great record. And then my favorite record of theirs I actually have, which is Bloodlust, which is an amazing record. If you need to listen to anything by Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats, it's this one. Bloodlust is just phenomenal, and it's just really dark, really dark. And then we're ending on actually we have 3 more things left. 2 Wolves in the Throne Room records. This is 2 Hunters. I actually talked about this band last time on the Adventures in Seattle. If you haven't checked them out, this is the album to listen to from them probably. It's 4 songs and really long, and it's fantastic. And then the other thing they have is the more recent thing, their most recent output, which is a gorgeous piece of work if you haven't seen it. Right here, Thrice Woven right here. It's just gorgeous. I saw them with Behemoth actually. I've seen them twice. And last but not least, on the metal side, and then I'll probably do a part 2 of this video, we have a band called Woods of Ypres. And this is Woods 5, Grey Skies, and Electric Light. And actually, there's actually a story connected to this album, so it's actually kind of fitting that this is the last thing we're going to be talking about. David Gold is the lead singer, who sounds a lot like Typo Negative. It's got a very baritone type of vocals, and it's got some black metal in it as well. But it's a doom rock and metal outfit. But this album is really sad, because David Gold died before it even came out. Officially, I think it was all done and said and done. And the lyrics are very life-denying and like sad and tragic and melancholic and just all those things. But the thing is about this particular album is it seemed like he kind of predicted his own passing, which is really scary, and also but like really artistically really interesting. But Woods of Ypres, Woods 5, Gray Skies and Electric Light. This is an album that is worth remembering, and I love it. And anyway, that is the end of that. So we're gonna just end this in a second. All right, this is gonna be the end of part 1. I hope you enjoyed my record collection. I know this is a little bit longer than I needed it to be, but I hope you enjoyed it for what it was, and I'm actually really excited to show you part 2. Now, stick with me, because that was all just metal, and the rest of this stuff is from classic rock to jazz to indie rock to classical. There's a lot of different things I gotta show you. So, anyway, thank you so much for checking this video out. Give this video a like, comment down below, share this video. Don't forget to hit that notification bell, and I'll see you next time. I'm not jonesing around.